We are kicking off with WWE as the mystery surrounding Jade Cargill's alleged injury has seen a whirlwind of conflicting reports after she was attacked during last week's edition of Smackdown. While some insiders claimed that the injury was part of a storyline, many, including Dave Meltzer, reported that she was legitimately hurt and could be out of action for 3 months. It was later reported that Cargill is not actually injured, and on Wrestling Observer Live, Brian Alvarez shared the following update on the situation. "We were initially told she is legitimately injured and she'll be out a while. Yesterday, all of a sudden it's all a work. I bet you if you did ask some people in WWE, they would say that it's a work because that is what they believe. I'm telling you that she's injured. When she'll be back, I do not know." Alvarez's report gives a clearer picture, though the timeline for her return remains unclear, and WWE is yet to comment officially on the conflicting report situation. Fans have been left to speculate how her absence will affect the show, with theories about a split with Bianca Belair and rumors that the pair could be stripped of their tag team titles. For now, Cargill's fans will have to wait to see what's next, and whether this leads to a major storyline payoff or not. One thing we know is that Jade's comeback will be much anticipated. What do you think of the conflicting reports surrounding Jade Cargill's injury? How should WWE handle her absence? Share your thoughts in the comments below. As a legendary manager, Paul Heyman has a knack for spotting talent, with major names like CM Punk and Brock Lesnar being known as Paul Heyman guys. This week, Heyman spoke to Shaq Wrestling and hinted at which stars from the current roster could one day be known as Paul Heyman guys. He said, "Gunther, Damian Priest, Braun Breaker, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, and others are remarkable talents. This roster is the deepest and most talented in the history of the industry." These comments have left fans speculating on one of these superstars receiving the Midas touch from Heyman, a move that could take their impressive careers even further. The Paul Heyman guy term was first coined on TV by CM Punk during his iconic 2011 pipe bomb, who was later associated on screen with the Hall of Famer in 2012 and 2013, and now this year. In the interview, Heyman spoke about Punk and shared the challenges the Chicago-made star faced early in his career due to being associated with him. He explained, "CM Punk battled against the perception that all he was a Paul Heyman guy. He proved himself through his connection with the audience, his hard work, and overcoming being misrepresented as a performer who needed smoke and mirrors." Punk is a much more dynamic character now than before, according to Heyman, who added that the former AEW World Champion now has a deeper connection with the fans. Outside of Punk and perhaps Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar is the most successful Paul Heyman guy, and Heyman was by Brock's side during his impactful WWE TV debut in 2002. While the pair haven't worked on screen together for years, Heyman remains very positive about his beast, as he has been right from the start. He said, "Brock was unlike any human being you've ever seen. He was a once-in-a-lifetime commodity that needed to be marketed as the undisputed #1. As fans await to see who Heyman's next guy will be, the Hall of Famer's influence continues to shine, and Paul remains a cornerstone of some of WWE's most compelling characters. Heyman, Punk, and Roman Reigns were all a part of this week's Smackdown, and it was pure cinema once more from WWE during their sit-down face-to-face on the show. The camera first showed Heyman with Reigns, who quipped that doesn't work for me, as Punk made the OTC wait in what was an obvious power play from the best in the world. The crux of the segment was that Punk and Roman don't get along, and Punk only wants to help Reigns in the OG bloodline, as he believes it'll benefit himself. Heyman was tasked with diffusing this situation, and while he did for the most part, Punk made clear that him backing up the OG bloodline means he's owed a favor. Reigns was not interested in owing any favors, but Punk made it clear that the favor will be owed by Heyman, who he described as our wise man. Reigns asked Paul what this favor is, but Heyman said that they should deal with Survivor Series and Wargames first, revealing that Heyman already knows what Punk wants from him. As for what this favor is, WWE gave no hint at what it could be, but perhaps it could be that Heyman will work with Punk as he pursues the World Heavyweight title on Raw. Given the tensions between Punk and Roman, we can't count out a betrayal during the match, which could set up a feud between the two, one that Heyman would be caught in the middle of. If so, it would be especially interesting to see how this favor owed by Heyman would play out, and we'll hopefully have a clearer picture of what's to come tonight at Survivor Series Wargames. Do you think Punk and Reigns will be able to coexist in Wargames at tonight's PLE? What do you think is the favor that Heyman now owes CM Punk? Share your thoughts down below. Reigns, Punk, and Heyman had plenty to say during this week's SmackDown, but the original Tribal Chief had one more line after the show went off the air. On Instagram, Reigns shared a video of himself sitting by the fire and said that all would be fixed at Survivor Series Wargames in Vancouver. Reigns has been feuding with Solo Sikoa and his bloodline since SummerSlam, and one has to wonder whether this issue is what Reigns believes will be fixed at tonight's PLE. Whether Reigns gets his way tonight, only time will tell, as Sikoa's faction won't make things easy for the OTC, and neither will CM Punk if he and the OTC can't coexist. In the main event of SmackDown, Jey Uso and Jacob Fatu fought to determine which team will have the entry order advantage during tonight's men's Wargames match. Having this advantage is crucial, as the side with it will either have an even number of team members against their opponents in the match, or will have one more member involved. Nick Aldis told both Wargames teams that everyone was barred from ringside to make sure things were kept as fair as possible, and Fatu stared down Jey before they locked up. We have to mention that Jey got the biggest pop of the night for his entrance, while Fatu's entrance by himself was pretty great, as it's clear WWE is already seeing him as a major star. The Samoan Werewolf easily lifted Jey and knocked him down with a big shoulder block, and Fatu would continue to dominate for minutes before Jey mounted a comeback. It was all for naught in the end though, as Fatu secured the win and the advantage for the new bloodline in a solid match with an albeit predictable ending. The staple of Wargames is that the heels have the advantage, and given that the face team in the women's match have the order advantage, there was no way WWE would do that again. With Jade Cargill out of action due to the attack on her last week, it was NXT's Lash Legend who took her place in the Women's US Championship Tournament first round match. Legend shared the ring with Michin and Piper Niven, and oddly, while Niven had Chelsea Green with her, Legend was missing Jakara Jackson. Niven took control early on with her power, but Legend showed some impressive power of her own, delivering a body slam to Niven like it was no big deal, even smiling as she did it. Legend wasn't struggling at all as she delivered the move, and Green attempted to help Niven by hitting a super kick on Michin, but B-Fab ran down and attacked the Canadian. With Green and B-Fab out of the way, the three competitors fought through a commercial break, and while it had moments that popped the crowd, it often felt disjointed. One highlight was Michin's top rope Hurricane Rana, which Legend sold well, but for as many moments like that, there were times when someone was waiting for something to happen. This really killed the mood, as triple threats are supposed to be chaotic, especially when there's a shot to make history as the first ever Women's US Champion on the line. In the end, it was Michin who earned her place in the semifinals, and she'll face the winner of next week's match between Naomi, Tiffany Stratton, and Elektra Lopez. Recently, Tony Khan pulled Ricky Starks from all events planned for the AEW star, reportedly after a comment made by Effie about Khan's father Shad. This has disappointed fans who were eager to see the former FTW champion, especially given that AEW has not used him in any capacity since March of this year. Now, GCW has announced that Matt Cardona will face Effie at the Highest in the Room event on December 14th in a huge get for the promotion, given Cardona's high profile. Nevertheless, there's plenty of fans who wanted to see Starks in that role, and we'll have to see when, if ever, we see him in an AEW ring again. When Ethan Page parted AEW after requesting his release, he wasted no time in joining NXT, and within a matter of weeks, had risen the ranks to become the NXT champion. Page's success in the Silver brand showed he was wise to bet on himself and request to be let go, but his success may mean it could be some time before others are granted a release. That's according to Matt Hardy, who worked with Page in AEW and on his Extreme Life podcast argued that keeping talent under contract who want to be released is just a part of wrestling. Speaking about what he called the Ethan Page situation, Hardy suggested that the Canadian's success may leave Khan hesitant to grant anyone's release if he suspects a move to WWE. That may be why Ricky Starks is being kept in AEW even when the company has no plans for him, as it's no secret that WWE has been interested in Starks, a friend of Cody Rhodes. Then there's stars like Miro, who saw major success in WWE and could likely do so again, but reportedly had his requested release turned down despite having 0 AEW matches in 2024. While AEW has provided a huge platform for many, not everyone who signs reaches massive success, but it may be a long time before we see a requested release granted by Tony Khan. Do you think Khan is right to keep talent under contract to prevent them from succeeding elsewhere? Is this behavior you expected from the AEW president? Share your thoughts down below. Back to Smackdown, as Tommaso Ciampa was seen berating Johnny Gargano about their recent differences, as it seems that DIY will be the next tag team to split up. Ciampa blamed the team's recent issues on Alex Shelley and told Gargano that he had 1 week to figure things out, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with DIY next week. In a video promo, Kevin Owens shared his side of his feud with Cody Rhodes and made some valid points in his explanation from a certain point of view. Owens spoke about his feud with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, which saw him thrown off scaffolding and run over by Reigns with a golf cart. Owens went into detail about all that happened and spoke of how Rhodes never helped him, but instead chose to team with Roman Reigns at Bad Blood against Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. It's always more fun when a heel can feel justified in their actions instead of just being evil for the sake of it, and that was the case with Kevin Owens during this segment. The prizefighter vowed to turn the American Nightmare into the Canadian Dream, and do you think Owens will dethrone Cody at Saturday night's main event? Give your predictions below. With that on his mind, Cody Rhodes arrived to face Carmelo Hayes, with the NXT alum giving a quick promo saying he agreed with what Owens had to say. That visibly upset the undisputed WWE champion, even though Hayes seemed less comfortable than usual during his promo, in a rarity for the typically natural talker. Rhodes used his experience to take the upper hand during the first few minutes of this match, as the pair effectively showed that Hayes was truly outmatched in that department. This was a great mix of fundamentals with a handful of riskier spots thrown in, and Hayes used his agility to fight back, but Rhodes kept finding ways to keep him grounded. Hayes eventually took control, but Rhodes made a comeback to hit a Cody cutter and crossroads for the win, with Melo selling the cutter like an absolute pro. Smackdown kicked off with Team Rhea and Ripley trying to fire up the team, but it wasn't long before Liv Morgan and her Wargames team arrived to try and sow some division. The heels brought up Bianca Belair's past issues with Damage Control and how Bayley and Io Sky would make life hell for the EST in 2022 during their feud on Raw. The heel team also brought up Io Sky betraying Bayley and ousting her from Damage Control earlier this year, culminating in their match at WrestleMania. The line of the segment went to Liv Morgan, who accused Bayley of attacking Jade Cargill, bringing up how Bayley now has a PLE match on the team now that Cargill has been taken out. Belair herself gave her prediction, saying she believes one of the 5 women on the heel team attacked her tag team partner and vowed that all 5 will get their comeuppance. With both teams out there, it was only a matter of time before a brawl ensued. And what do you think of this? And who do you think attacked Jade Cargill? Share your suspects in the comments. At Double or Nothing in May, Adam Copeland retained the TNT title in a barbed wire steel cage match, but suffered a fractured tibia in the match that forced him to vacate the gold. This is a huge setback for Copeland and AEW, as the company has been missing one of its biggest names, but fans eager to see the WWE Hall of Famer won't have to wait much longer. According to reports from the Wrestling Observer, Copeland's return will come on January 1st, 2025 during the first ever Max TBS simulcast of AEW Dynamite. That show will take place in Asheville, North Carolina, where the Canadian now lives, in what will be an epic moment for the former WWE World Champion. News of his return date comes after PW Insider Elite reported this week that he was medically cleared for physicality again, but that report added that AEW was holding off using him. Rather than a random return, AEW is saving Copeland for the January 1st show, ensuring that the new year kicks off with a major bang, courtesy of the Rated R Superstar. On December 28th, AEW will host its second annual World's End pay-per-view, with plans slowly coming together for the final major event of 2024 for the company. It's been confirmed that the semifinals and finals of the Continental Classic will take place at World's End, but what's in store for Jon Moxley on the night? On the Bryan and Vinny show, Bryan Alvarez shared that the current plan is for a 4-way for the AEW World title, though stopped short of mentioning who will challenge the champion. Based off the ending of Full Gear, one would have to assume that Adam Page, Jay White, and Christian Cage would be in the mix, as all 3 have shown interest in the world champion. As always, plans are subject to change, and we await AEW making their world title match for World's End official, but don't be surprised if this is the match we get next month. Are you excited at the idea of a 4-way? Do the numbers mean that Moxley's reign will come to an end? Share your thoughts on this in the comments section below. We've got some sad news to report now, as Tommy Savoldi, a former WWE referee who was known as the Mediator, has passed away at the age of 85. While known as an official in WWF and WWF, Savoldi also worked in a variety of roles for his family's IWCCW promotion, including as a ref, a booker, and overseeing talent relations. Known for his larger-than-life personality outside of the ring, Savoldi made a huge impression on those who knew him, and our thoughts are with his family and friends at this sad time. Before he was WWE's resident megastar, US champion LA Knight made a handful of appearances for WWE as an extra, including on Triple H's fitness DVD. This DVD came out a decade or so ago, with nobody knowing at the time how big Knight would become, and now he's shared how the appearance came together. While speaking during an interview with Jazzy's World TV, Knight discussed his fitness DVD appearance and said he didn't know how the selection process worked. He said, no, not at all. Just short and sweet. No, in all honesty, I don't know what the selection process was for that. One day they were just like, hey, we're gonna have you guys doing this workout thing, so make sure you bring some clothes. They also had wardrobe for us, so it was basically like they selected a handful of guys, probably all the body guys, all the guys who were in pretty good shape, and decided to put us in that video. Did that help me in any way? Probably not, because I got fired shortly after that, and that was 10 years ago. During the workout, Knight would deliver his signature "yeah," a sign of things to come, and this came 3 years after he played a security guard during a 2011 edition of Monday Night Raw. Knight's role goes to show how there's no one way to make it in WWE, and few at the time would have thought this extra would one day become one of the company's most popular stars. On Smackdown, Andrade took on Shinsuke Nakamura in our first match of the night, and the King of Strong Style's first match on TV since April of this year. Fans were able to get a good look at Nakamura's new entrance and gear, and the Japanese star tried to finish things early when he attempted to stomp on Andrade's head. Andrade tried to use his speed, but Nakamura's strikes kept the match at his pace, and this was a good match that would have been great had it not been cut in half with a commercial break. Andrade hit a gorgeous top rope moonsault, and we have to hope that this is a match we'll get to see again, ideally at a PLE, to ensure there's no interruptions. Both men are world-class stars who are both overdue for a world title run, which only demonstrates how stacked the WWE roster is right now, especially in the main event. Nakamura exposed a turnbuckle and fooled Andrade into running into it before finishing off his fellow former NXT champion with a Kinshasa. LA Knight arrived ready to fight, but was immediately hit with the Black Mist by Nakamura, and on commentary, Corey Graves said that this Nakamura was birthed out of frustration. With 7 months between TV matches, Nakamura would certainly be justified in his frustrations, and will we see a new US champion crowned tonight, or will Knight keep the gold? In 2020, Becky Lynch's time as Raw Women's Champion ended when she shared that she was pregnant in an emotional segment with Asuka, who was awarded the gold. The segment would be the last fans would see of Lynch in a WWE ring until SummerSlam 2021, but Lynch had to fight WWE away from their original plan for her announcement. Speaking at Vulture Festival, Lynch shared that WWE's original plan for the segment was very bad and would have seen her challenge a backstage interviewer. From there, Asuka would come out and Lynch would use elaborate, robust words, hardly the verbiage one would think of when you think of the man on the mic. Lynch was so irritated by the pitch that she was ready to punch somebody, though admitted that she was also very hormonal at the time and fought WWE until the plan was changed. Ultimately, what fans saw was more acceptable to Lynch, and while fans eagerly await her return, it's clear that the man isn't afraid to fight management for what she believes in. And we're ending today with TNA Wrestling, as the promotion arrived in Winston-Salem, North Carolina last night for Turning Point, and that show saw a major debut from an ex-WWE superstar. In 6-man tag team action, World Tag Team Champions the Hardys and Ace Austin of ABC were set to face Zachary Wentz of the Rascals, as well as Time Splitter Kushida. You'll notice that one of these teams was a man down, as a mystery partner was promoted for the match, and that mystery man turned out to be none other than Matt Riddle. This marked the original Bros' debut for TNA, and his first appearance in a major televised promotion in a long time, and comes after he was cut from WWE in 2023. Riddle's release came after numerous instances, from rubbing talent and management the wrong way, going off script, and an alleged drunken incident at JFK Airport. Ultimately, Riddle's debut wasn't a successful one, as the Hardys in Austin got the win, and we'll have to see if this was a one-off or a sign of bigger things to come for the ex-superstar. But what do you make of Matt Riddle in TNA? Are you excited to see him in the company, or do you think he'll bring unnecessary controversy like we saw in WWE? Share your thoughts below.